Welcome to Blue Collar Crypto. This is a production of World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Sue Roskoff, and I am so excited to introduce to you Tim Trozian and Neil Weber, who will be on Blue Collar Crypto this evening. Come on in, guys. So happy to have you here. What's happening today?
We're going to talk about what is relevant to our lives. We're going to talk about our lives and how they can teach others about their lives. Tim, do you have any response?
Yeah, of course, Neil. Of course I have a response. Of course.
Okay.
I need to collect my thoughts and then I'll respond,
Okay.
So be patient with me.
I can be.
Okay, I heard that you could be. And we're going to talk about Neil and Tim, two good Irish names.
Yeah.
And it's St. Patty's Day today. But
okay,
it's really
great.
tomorrow.
It's
right?
tomorrow, yeah.
So I have corned beef, cabbage, I'm boiling potatoes. I have to make my own cabbage. But the corned beef is already cooked.
Okay.
That's my story. And
how can you answer the question? The question was, or the issue. Here's the question. I always think great people ask good questions. They don't tell you what to do. They ask you questions, and they make you think about what to do. So how will you make your life meaningful at this time? How will you make today meaningful? How will you make today meaningful?
Well, today would be meaningful if I was thinking about the work week and starting my job tomorrow. Because
tell us about your job. I know about it, but we weren't on air at the time. So please tell us about your job possibility, your job access, your job actuality.
Okay, so there is a company that will pay me cash for working. I don't know the name of the company, but I got interviewed today and I was hired.
Great.
And they offered me 4 hours a day for $20. And here's the kicker. It's $20 cash. So for those of you that are getting $20 an hour and getting taxes taken out, I don't have to pay those taxes. I'm getting cash.
Right.
And how does that relate to what Neil and I are talking about? Neil, you and me, Tim, two good Irish Catholic men, used to serve on the altar. And then, so how does that relate? Why is that important to somebody that's getting a disability check? Well, we want to go out and work for cash so that it's not accounted. When you get a check, sometimes they count if you get a job, they take away your disability money. So
Correct.
we go out there we go out there and with our check, we still collect that. Plus we go out there and work for cash. And that's what I did today, Neil. I found a job that's going to give me $400 a week, cash money. And I can still keep my disability check.
Great.
That's if I was getting one, but we can pretend, and so then that increases my income. So now I have 400. I have 400 extra a week, which is $1,600 a month.
Correct.
Now this employer is eventually going to have to take taxes out, but you know what? Let's be happy for today, right? That's what we were talking about, right? Today, right?
Correct. Let's talk about today.
So this week I'll have $400 to add to my monthly income.
Correct.
To do with whatever I want. It doesn't have to go to rent or anything. Just,
Are you
yeah.
are you currently meeting? Do you have a budget, Tim?
No, you know what? But a budget is very, very important.
Okay.
Because
So are you currently meeting all your household expenses?
I am meeting all my household expenses.
Are you saving
I have-
10% for? Are you saving 10% for retirement?
I am doing that.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I get reduced rent every month.
Okay.
I pay $230 a month for rent.
Okay, great.
So I live in a federal building for disabled and elderly.
Okay,
They take a percentage of my income,
right.
but it's not my income that they look at. It's my wife's income.
Sure.
So, I can earn whatever I want to earn. They don't look at my income. So, or I have to kind of skirt that issue. But
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, here's the point. The point is if you have an opportunity to put money aside, we want to put it aside.
Correct.
And Neil, you're calling it retirement, but let's broaden the issue a little bit. Let's make it more fuzzy, okay? Why is it good to have money set aside, Neil?
For a rainy day, in case you get cancer or some health concern you can't control.
But you know what? I get this disability check. There is no rainy day. I get this money guaranteed. So why should I put any money aside?
Because with the Trump administration, they're already proposing to cut Medicaid. They may start attacking disability income.
But who cares if I have extra money in the bank? I don't need that money. It's just more beer and cigarettes money. You know, I mean, why do I have to put money aside for a rainy day or for retirement? I'm playing devil's advocate with you, Neil.
That's why,
But-
and I'm quite a competitor, so I will compete with you on this. I believe
Engage me, Neil. Engage.
I am
Engage.
engaged. So I believe
Honor me with your.
man is responsible for his own destiny. The disability system was created in 1959 under the Eisenhower administration. It has not been a permanent part of our country since 1776. So as a program, it does exist currently, but it may go away. And if it goes away, especially under Trump with his budget cutting, one would need an additional source of income to replace that. What is your plan to replace that income if it goes away?
So I don't believe you, Neil. Why would it go away? That's silly. Trump can't do that.
Okay, because Trump is a selfish, greedy man, and he wants to cut Medicaid, which I rely on currently. What he wants to do is give tax cuts to the rich, increasing the rich's income by attacking and reducing the poor. He wants to steal from the poor and give to the rich, the opposite of Robin Hood.
Well, Neil, I know, but the poor people, who cares about them? They don't work.
Wait a minute. I'm not talking about any poor. I'm talking about you and I.
Okay.
And you and I depend upon this SSDI system. Are you on SSDI?
Well, no, but come on. Let's get real here. I don't earn an income. I pay reduced rent. I might as well be on SSI. Right? I mean,
I don't know.
Let's be technical, but what does it cost to live in this country?
What is your 10-year plan, Tim? You got a 10-year plan. What is it?
I'm working on it.
Okay, you told me you had one last week.
I'm told you I was working on it, Neil.
Okay, fine.
I gotta be more specific, but
Yes,
I am
you do.
working on a 10-year. I'm working on a 10-year plan. Thank you.
Okay, got it.
Because why am I doing that? Why do I care about retirement? What is a rainy day? Why isn't today just
Wait a minute.
given to us?
Aren't you a survivor of cancer?
Yes, I'm a survivor of cancer. Yes.
Before you had cancer, how did you meet your financial needs?
I worked daily labor jobs. I didn't have an income, regular income. I worked whatever job the job place would send me out on, and I would work for 8 hours, and they would give me a check every day for the hours that I
Okay.
worked that day.
Before
Yeah.
I went on SSDI, I had a number of jobs. I worked in sales for 6 years, and during that time, I had, first of all, I graduated in education concentration, desiring to be a teacher. But unfortunately, my lust prevented me from focusing on my schoolwork. And so instead of studying, I enjoyed my life. And so when it came time to graduate and actually produce results from my 4 years of education, I wasn't able to do that. So God blessed me through my efforts with a job as a inside salesman for a company that sold children's books to librarians. But I did that for 18 months and I had great success. I was number 2 in the company, but unfortunately did not have health benefits. And I had a family and I wanted to have children and we needed health benefits. So I searched and found a job, another job with benefits, but this was computer software. And I didn't believe in computer software as I believed in children's books. So I failed at that job. Then I got a job at representing minority workers, helping them find work. I believe it had benefits, but I didn't believe in minority workers. So I failed at that job. Then I finally found the job that I really was my passion. And that was representing the Catholic Church, selling advertising on the back of church bulletins to small businesses. And I had to travel 5 states and be away from my family. And one day I was in Indiana, in Gary, Indiana, and I had actually met my goals by Wednesday. My former wife at the time, she said that Bridget had a cold and she wanted me to come home. I raced home, leaving why I was needed at home, and I was able to do well at that job. Unfortunately, I was on commission income, and that the banks did not, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, did not view that favorably. And so what they said was, you need 10 years of recorded income in order to qualify for a loan. And I was in my first and a half year there. My former wife got a patient, and she said, if this is the best house, we were looking at houses, and the housing market was very, it was hot. So a lot of good houses were not available. So we found a house possibility. It was an ugly house. She said, if this is the best house you could provide, I'm moving to Florida. And I got scared I would lose her. And so I agreed to move to Florida. Well, that's where I lost her anyways. So the marriage was annulled. And what happened was I have finally come to accept the death of that marriage. What I'm trying to share with you is that before the onset of disability, I had income. And now I'm having a hard time accepting my disability. And what I need to do is go to therapy on Thursday, which I'm scheduled to do, and talk about either A, my relationship with my ex-wife and how that's impacted me, or B, my disability and how that's impacted me. So I need to make that decision. But the bottom line is I'm a work in progress. I think the disability system is allowing me to work on myself, work in a low-pressure job, and heal so that I can go on to live a productive life.
Okay, so I wish you the best, Neil. And when you talk to this person and start to focus on what would help you to move forward.
Correct.
And so, and that's important to our listeners.
I think overcoming Franklin Delano Roosevelt was a great man, but he had a great handicap. He had essentially polio, and he hid the polio from the general public. This is the day before television showed everything, so he was able to do that. Helen Keller became a great woman, but she was blind, deaf, and dumb. She overcame those handicaps to become a great woman, I believe an author as well as public speaker. So it isn't the advantages we're given at birth that produce greatness. It is the handicaps.
Okay. And you just get better and better, and you just better. Your last statement was your best statement. It's our handicap.
It is what we have to overcome. It isn't the benefits of our lives. It isn't the fact that I was born into a middle class that became an upper class income household. It wasn't that I was born into a Roman Catholic home. It wasn't that I had two loving parents who loved me unconditionally. That all helped. But what really helped was my divorce from Bonnie that produced in me the desire to change. Because up until that divorce, I was satisfied to who I was. And that divorce was a slap in my face. It was the first time that someone had said no to my desires. My parents never said no, and I was the only one that I allowed close to me. Then after the divorce, I started letting more and more people into my life because I was in the process of searching. There's a book by Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning, and he talks about his experience in the prison camp, the concentration camp. Well, I went through the concentration camp of addiction and mental illness combined. I will tell you that it is great suffering, but great suffering can produce, if you choose it to allow it, great character. And what I want in life is great character. For many years, I wanted my ex-wife's income, and I wanted to I believed at the time that if I trusted in her income, her responsibility, rather, that I would become responsible and wealthy. But I realized after that divorce, it took many years to recognize that I need to be responsible for myself and attract a woman who is responsible for herself. And together we can build wealth together. But only if I do my part, there's three vows we take. What are the three vows of marriage? Do you know what they are? The Catholic marriage.
Okay. But it sounds like
love, honor, and obey. All I did was obey because I had fear. I was ruled by fear. And because I was ruled by fear of Bonnie, because I had been submissive to her, but I hadn't loved and honored her. And because of that, I was wounded. I was wounded by my childhood, my father wound. And I've since forgiven and let go of that father wound. But now I'm working on writing a book about my parents to honor them, and so that my brother will pay me $3,000 that I can use for my needs. I want to use my writing gift to honor my parents because they lived extraordinary lives. I want to tell the readers of this book I'm going to produce about their extraordinary lives. In order to do that, I have to simplify my life. I have to say no to many goals. And in saying no to many goals, I can free up time to work on this book.
Okay. So where do we find the value? Now, I get to talk about my experience, but what we're trying to do, Neil, and is through your stories and my stories is maybe find a nice way to introduce a segue so our listeners can improve their lives.
Okay, how can we do that, Tim?
Well, actually, in the educational process, this is a step-by-step method. So we don't know how quite yet. What we do is we do what we're doing. We tell stories, and then hopefully through that we find a cure, right? Or hey, let's say a cure is too strong a word. We find a soup base, a base for our soup.
What you said? SOUP?
That's right.
Okay, tell me then about your story. What can you contribute to this conversation?
Sure. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in 1991, which was 30 years ago.
Correct.
And I've been working just blue collar, hence the name of my show, Blue Collar Crypto. I've been working blue collar jobs for 30 years now.
Sure.
And thinking, well, boy, I graduated from college. Wasn't I supposed to move into a white collar professional managerial position?
Sure.
But that never materialized for me.
Sure.
And some of your story sounds like some of my story.
Great.
I don't know exactly which parts, but it sounds familiar. And so I did apply. Sometimes I was told, well, you're overqualified.
Got it.
Or they would offer me a salary and I would go, oh my goodness, that's not much money. So, or it was hard to just say, hey, how do I put together a resume? Well, there are other difficulties that you and I have had over the years. And the subject matter here is gaining employment that will sustain us to pay rent, to buy groceries, pay utilities, to raise children, to pay for health insurance, life insurance. That's the subject matter, at least of this show.
Okay, but I have a question for you. You told me a few minutes ago that your work was for extra money. You already were meeting your household expenses.
Well,
And now you're telling me that you're not.
it's been 30 years. It's been that long that it's taken me to do that. And
Okay, so what,
I don't
what do you
get it.
lack? What do you lack?
What don't I have?
Yeah, correct.
Well, we're trying to find that out here.
Okay,
We're trying to
you have a
find.
vision.
Right.
You have a vision for your life.
That's what we're trying to find out. You don't mind, I thought that you wanted to participate, engage here. We're going to find that out.
Engaged. That's what I'm doing right now.
That's
I'm engaging you.
That's what we're doing right now. We're creating a show that's interactive, that's transparent, that's informative, that's sometimes we talk about ourselves, whatever that word is, but and hopefully
self-reflective.
Yeah, and hopefully it's intuitive. People go, oh, it's self-reflective in the way also that people listen and go, gee, that sounds kind of like me.
Sure.
Hey, that Tim and Neil guy, they sound pretty normal, but they sound like me, and I don't think I'm normal. But after listening to Tim and Neil, wow, I feel better. I feel like I'm just a regular person, just like Tim and Neil. You know, so it is what it is, as they say in Wisconsin. You know, we are who we are. We have struggles. We don't define ourselves by our struggles, but sometimes we do.
Sure.
You know, do I talk to everybody and say, woe is me? And, I'm really down on my luck and I've never had anything. And no, I don't do that. But
Sure.
do I do share? Here's a place where I can share on this show. So,
Sure.
and I promise, it's a promise here on the podcast that I will share. I will in the
Okay.
future. But you've
Okay.
taken up so much time, Neil, that I don't have any time to tell my story. So
Tell your story
we'll
now.
have another show to do that.
Well,
right.
if you want to do that next week, I'm going to ask something of you.
All right.
I want you to write down your thoughts about next show, and promise me you'll give me 15 minutes before the show to talk about those thoughts, and then you can share. You can be the first one to share.
Okay.
Will you agree
How
to that?
about that? Of course
Okay.
I'll agree to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay
We
then.
will talk. We will let you talk first. If you write down what you're going to talk about, and then share it at 3:45 p.m. on next Sunday.
Okay. And I wish you the luck of the Irish and all of our listeners on St. Patty's Day.
I wish you a happy Sunday. The rest of it. Have a good 6:30 show. Unfortunately, I can't be part of it.
Okay, I will.
That'll
Thank
give you the whole show to talk about what you want to talk about. You have an hour. You have 2 hours to prepare for it. It's your show
Oh.
entirely, so I won't be using up any of the time.
Okay. All right, Neil. Yes, sir.
I'd like you to share your vision for yourself
Yes.
based on your 10-year goals.
That would be wonderful. I have so much to share. So much
Okay,
to share.
you got the whole time to talk about it.
Okay. Yes. I can't wait. I'll see you next week.
Talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.
Wait, Sue's got to sign us off.
Okay, go ahead, Sue.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. This again was a production of Blue Collar Crypto with Tim Tarosian and Neil Weber. We are here every Sunday at 4 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. Central. Tonight's extra advantage of a later evening piece. Instead of 5:30, it will be 6:30 tonight. So tune back in at 6:30 p.m. for episode number 2 on Blue Collar Crypto. This is the World of Ability Podcast Network. And as always,